They told you to find your passion. They told you to chase your dreams. But no one told you about the silence. No one warned you about the nights you'd stare at the ceiling, wondering why the fire inside you flickers instead of burns. No one told you that purpose isn't always loud, that sometimes it's a whisper in the ruins. Sometimes purpose is not the mountaintop. It's crawling, bleeding, gasping through the valley with no light, no map, and no applause. You see, purpose isn't handed to you. It's not something you stumble across in a lucky moment of clarity or a perfectly lit Instagram quote. Purpose is forged like iron in fire, like a soul in suffering. It is built one broken piece at a time, in the trenches, not the triumphs. We live in a world that tells you purpose is a destination. It's not. It's a decision to become. Not when you have all the answers, but precisely when you don't. When the world laughs at you, when the odds bury you, when fear breathes down your neck and you rise anyway. Purpose isn't what you do. It's who you decide to be in the dark. When Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times to invent the light bulb, do you think he waited for clarity? Do you think he had some divine whisper from the heavens telling him this was it? Number? He failed. Again, and again, and again. But he kept moving forward. Because purpose isn't some heavenly revelation. It's persistence with a spine. It's movement through madness. It's faith without proof. They won't tell you this, but the world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most decided. Carnegie didn't rise because he was born lucky. He rose because he refused to stay down. He chose vision over comfort, discipline over ease. And when the steel of life pressed against him, he didn't shatter, he sharpened. You want purpose? Then make pain your instructor. Make discomfort your fuel. Make doubt your firewood. Because purpose is not a vacation. It is war. And the battlefield is within. The enemy? Your excuses. Your distractions. Your false identities. The stories you tell yourself about why you can't, why you're not ready, why someone else is more deserving. Burn them. Because the truth no one tells you is that purpose demands sacrifice. It demands death, not of your body, but of your comfort. It demands the death of who you were, so something greater can rise in your place. You will lose friends. You will be misunderstood. You will walk alone. But let me ask you this. Isn't it better to be alone with fire in your chest than surrounded by mediocrity and a soul that's asleep? You were not born to fit in. You were born to ignite. But the match won't light itself. Purpose isn't found. It's claimed. It's earned. It's declared in the face of fear, not in the absence of it. Every legend you admire once stood where you are confused, scared, unseen. Walt Disney? Fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. Abraham Lincoln? Lost election after election. Oprah? Told she wasn't fit for television. Purpose isn't about being chosen. It's about choosing yourself again and again when the world refuses to. And that choice must be made daily. When the alarm goes off and you don't feel like getting up, choose it. When your dreams look ridiculous, choose it. When the results aren't showing, choose it. Because purpose is not a feeling. It's a standard. You don't wait to feel inspired. You decide to become unstoppable. You stand up before you're ready. You speak when your voice shakes. You move when your legs tremble. And that's when something begins to change. Not outside, but inside. Your belief starts to stretch. Your discipline starts to harden. Your vision sharpens through the storms you didn't ask for, but now must command. That's the real work, not chasing outcomes, but crafting the character who can carry them. Do you want the truth about purpose? It's not glamorous. It's not instant. It's not about feeling good. It's about becoming good enough to lead yourself when no one else will, because you will be tested. The question is, when it gets hard, will you remember why you started, or will you forget who you are? There will be days the voices in your head will sound louder than the voices that love you. Days when quitting will dress itself up as being realistic. Days when fear will convince you it's wisdom. Ignore them. Purpose requires deafness to doubt and a holy obsession with progress. Do not ask the world for permission to be great. Do not wait for the nod, the handout, the rescue. Because if no one shows up to save you, that's when purpose steps in. When you stop waiting and start building. When you stop chasing and start becoming. And here's the part no one tells you. You don't arrive at purpose. You build it every single day, brick by brick, breath by breath, battle by battle. Until one day you look up, and the world that once ignored you now echoes your name. But by then you won't care about the echo. Because the real transformation will have already happened within you. And that's when you realize it was never about the destination. It was about who you had to become to walk this road barefoot, bleeding, breaking, yet still choosing forward. You see, purpose is not a straight line. It is a labyrinth, a firestorm, a prayer wrapped in scars. You will get lost. You will question everything. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Because the man who never gets lost never learns to trust his inner compass. And that compass, that deep burning knowing, isn't found in comfort. It's found in the chaos, in the rejection letters, in the quiet rejections from people who once clapped for you, in the solitude of grinding, when no one notices, no one believes, no one understands. That's where purpose is carved by your own hands. Not into marble statues, but into the very fabric of your character. And let's talk about character, because in this era of shortcuts and shiny masks, character is your currency. It's not how loud you shout your goals. It's how silently you bleed for them when no one's watching. It's not about claiming you're destined for greatness. It's about walking like it when greatness looks 1,000 miles away. Do you have the stamina to believe when everything around you says give up? Do you have the strength to serve when your heart is breaking? Do you have the fire to build when your hands are trembling? Because that's what separates the pretenders from the prophets. Not talent, not background, not even timing, but resilience, conviction, and a loyalty to your inner truth that cannot be seduced by comfort or applause. There's a myth that purpose feels like certainty, that when you find it, life will suddenly click into place. Purpose rarely feels like fireworks. It feels like work, like waking up and doing what must be done even when motivation is a ghost. It's brushing shoulders with failure and not letting it stain your identity. It's being misunderstood and still standing tall. It's outgrowing people you love because your calling is louder than your comfort zone. You don't lose people on the path to purpose. You shed the versions of yourself that kept them there. And in that shedding, you will cry. You will doubt. You will rage against the very thing you once prayed for. But if you keep walking, if you keep breathing into the storm instead of hiding from it, you will emerge transformed. Because purpose is a fire that doesn't burn you, it refines you. Think of Henry Ford. Everyone laughed at him. Horses were the future, they said. But Ford saw beyond. Not just with eyes, but with vision. Vision, now, that's something they never teach you in school. It's not about seeing what is. It's about seeing what could be and having the will to birth it into existence, even when it looks absurd. And the only way you train vision is by acting without guarantees. Let me say that again. You must act without guarantees. That is the highest form of faith, not blind belief in the universe, not fluffy affirmations that avoid the grind, but standing in front of the impossible and saying, I will build a bridge with my bare hands if I have to, because that's what visionaries do. They walk through walls that others thought were permanent. They dig where others wait. They risk what others cling to. And that risk, that's the birthplace of purpose. You see, purpose doesn't live in certainty. It lives in commitment. Commitment to something bigger than your fears, bigger than your likes, bigger than your failures. It's not about being seen. It's about seeing deeply what you came here to do. And here's the twist no one talks about. Purpose isn't just about you. Yes, it starts with you, with your healing, your clarity, your voice, but true purpose transcends you. It becomes a bridge, a light, a legacy. You start building for others who are still trapped where you once were. You speak for those whose voices have been silenced. You rise not for applause, but because you finally remember who you are. Purpose is a memory not of your past, but of your essence. The part of you that existed before fear took root. Before the world told you to tone it down, fit in, be realistic. The part of you that believed in miracles, that danced without shame, that dreamed without permission. You must return to that. Return and rebuild with the wisdom of your wounds, the courage of your scars, and the conviction of someone who has nothing left to lose but their chains. So, if you've been waiting for clarity, for certainty, for a sign, this is it. The truth about purpose is not that it's hidden. It's that most people are too afraid to claim it. They want the glory without the grit, the crown without the crucible. But purpose doesn't respond to convenience. It responds to courage. And courage, my friend, begins the moment you stop negotiating with your fears and start leading your life. Leadership not over others, but over yourself. That's where the real war is waged. Not in boardrooms, not in battlefields, not on stages, but in the quiet moment when you decide, I will not break today. That's purpose. Not shouting from rooftops, but whispering to yourself in the dark, we keep going. And that whisper, it becomes a roar. Not all at once, but steadily. As you choose growth over comfort, standards over sympathy, vision over validation. But beware, the world will try to distract you from that voice. It will bombard you with noise, comparison, artificial urgency. It will reward hustle, but not harmony. It will clap for outcomes and ignore the man who bled for them. And if you're not vigilant, you will start measuring your worth by the pace of others, instead of the depth of your own becoming. But purpose doesn't compete. It creates. It doesn't need permission. It gives direction. And that direction? It's not always linear. Sometimes purpose detours you into disaster to teach you resilience. Sometimes it strips you of everything so you'll stop clinging to what was never meant for you. Sometimes it breaks you just to show you that you were unbreakable all along. Think of Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, nearly 3 decades of silence. But purpose? It was never chained. His purpose matured in solitude. It sharpened in confinement. And when the gates finally opened, the world met not a prisoner but a giant. So I ask you, what prison are you sitting in right now? Fear? Doubt? Comfort? The opinions of those who wouldn't last one day in your battle? Good, because that's where purpose waits, not in the palace, but in the pressure. And pressure is not the enemy. It is the proving ground. It will test your patience. It will ask you who you are when everything is stripped away. It will demand honesty, not about your goals, but your grit. So if you feel lost, good. If you feel tired, good. If you feel like the world doesn't understand what you're building, perfect. You're on the right track. Because you were not born for applause. You were born for impact. And impact doesn't come from staying safe. It comes from sacrificing the short term for something eternal. Legacy. And legacy begins not in the future, but in the choices you make today. The discipline you build today. The self-respect you guard today. The decision to speak up, show up, and level up today. That is where purpose breathes. And that breath, it becomes a storm. Not to destroy, but to awaken. To awaken the sleeping parts of you, the courage buried under fear, the genius buried under self-doubt, the greatness that's been waiting for you to remember. Remember who you are before the world told you who to be. You are not your resume. You are not your followers. You are not your past mistakes. You are a force untamed, unbroken, unfinished. So finish the climb. Write the book. Launch the dream. Speak the truth. Stand for something when it's easier to fall for everything. And don't just find purpose. Be it. In the way you walk. In the way you love. In the way you hold yourself even when the mirror is cracked. Purpose is not some final destination you reach once you have it all together. It's a fire you tend every day with your actions, your thoughts, your silence. So protect that fire. Feed it with learning. Fuel it with discipline. Sharpen it with adversity. And let it light the path not just for you, but for every soul still searching for a way out of their darkness. Because that's the final truth about purpose. No one tells you it was never just about you. It's about who you lift as you rise, who you awaken with your courage, who you remind simply by living out loud that they were never too broken, too late, too lost. You become a lighthouse, not by being perfect, but by being on fire with conviction. And when that fire burns, not even the ocean can put it out. Not time, not failure, not silence. Because once you live with purpose, you don't fear death. You fear never having lived at all. And you right now, you have a choice. To wake up tomorrow and go through the motions. Or to wake up like a warrior, a builder, a leader, a man or woman who refuses to die with their song still trapped in their chest. You are here for something sacred. Not to impress, but to impact. Not to survive, but to awaken. Not to chase what is easy, but to become what is necessary. So, become it. Not next week. Not when it's convenient. No, because purpose doesn't wait. And neither should you. This is your awakening. Not a soft whisper, but a thunderclap ripping through your excuses, your delays, your old definitions of who you are. Because this world doesn't need another person who plays small to keep others comfortable. It needs you fully ignited. It needs the version of you who stops shrinking, who stops apologizing for being intense, focused, different. It needs the version of you who no longer tolerates lukewarm friendships, half-hearted efforts, or the seduction of mediocrity disguised as stability. Do you hear it? That sound in your soul? That's not anxiety. That's your calling pounding at the door of your heart, begging you to stop waiting, to stop overthinking, to stop begging for signs and start becoming one. A sign that courage still lives, that fire still spreads, that a single soul on fire is more dangerous than a million asleep. So, become that danger. Be the storm they never saw coming. Be the calm after it, too. But whatever you do, don't go back. Don't go back to the old version of you that needed validation to move. Don't go back to the broken dreams you used as pillows for your fear. Don't go back to a life where you betray your purpose just to be accepted. Because once your soul wakes up, nothing false can satisfy it again. That's the price of purpose. It ruins mediocrity for you forever. And thank God for that. Because this world needs the rare few who are not just alive, but awake. Awake to their power. Awake to their responsibility. Awake to the fact that nothing will change until they do. And now it's your turn. No more waiting. No more stories. No more someday. Because the truth they don't tell you about purpose is that it lives and dies by what you do now. In this moment, in this breath, in this single sacred second where you get to choose comfort or calling, excuses or execution, fear or fire. And if you still have breath in your lungs, it is not too late. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You are becoming, and the world has been waiting for you to finally realize you were the purpose all along. So go, not quietly, not carefully, but like a man possessed by vision, like a woman baptized in certainty, like a soul who finally remembers that this life was never meant to be half-lived. Burn the old maps. Draw your own with your actions. Etch your legacy into the soil with your sweat. Speak not just with your words, but with your way of being. And when the world asks you who you are, Don't tell them. Show them. By the way you rise. By the way you stand. By the way you live so fully, so relentlessly, so unapologetically, that your very existence becomes a permission slip for others to do the same. This, this is the truth about purpose that no one tells you. It's not out there. It's not someday. It's you, and it always has been. So light the fire, walk into the storm, and never, ever look back.